Welcome to the Soulful Success podcast. I'm your host, Janelle Chiara, and we have an amazing guest episode today. I'm saying that before the podcast has even begun because I already know you guys are going to get the most gems from this episode. I am joined by Abhishek, who is an online business coach, previous fat loss coach, who is paving the way for men in the online space to build businesses, fix their mindset, and become the best versions of themselves.
That's right. Thank you for the intro, man. I'm flat. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Really working on my intros right now.
That's it, man. Spot on. I loved it.
So where did this journey begin?
Wow. In terms of me starting a business or just general personal development?
Yeah, where did your personal development journey begin? Because I think it's really easy to pinpoint the time where your business started. So you could say, March 2023 was when the business started, but where did this journey begin in your mind?
Yeah, good question, man. I think for me, I had a very calm life up until the age of about 15. Both parents in the house, playing football, went to school. It's actually pretty good in school, to be fair. Then 15, very unfortunate turn of events happened. My dad actually passed. And from that point, I essentially just went down the wrong path. I was smoking, drinking, getting mad overweight as well, as you've seen, obviously. And just being a slave to my bad habits, I'd say. Mm-hmm. So from 15 to 21, literally just numbed it with all these kind of short-term quick fixes, essentially. At the age of 21 years old, I then managed to still graduate from university. I did investment banking, actually a crazy degree, to be fair. It was a good degree. And even for all the bullshit that I was doing, I still managed to graduate with a 2-1. So I have no idea how to this day, because I was literally missing lectures left, right and center. I wasn't even attending most of the time as well. So I was just on straight madnesses, literally. Managed to graduate, and once I graduated, it was the first time in my life where I had a bit of alone time, not to do anything. Because when you leave university, you're essentially either going to enter a job now for the first time, or you're going to kick back for a little bit. And obviously I was applying for jobs, but it took me about 6 months. And in them 6 months, I just thought, reflected on the last couple of years of my life. What has actually just happened? From the age of 15 to 21, I've just been on bullshit, stupidness. Yeah. And I think basically I had a girlfriend, right? And broke up with her. And I thought to myself, I've got a choice now. I can either keep doing the same bullshit tenfold, because when people break up with their partners, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Or I can completely flip my life around. And I kind of looked at myself in this mirror. I heard a quote once by Chris Williamson. He said that, true hell is when the person that you are today meets the person you were destined to be.
Ooh.
And it's deep.
Wait, pause on that.
Yeah.
We need to pause on that.
Yeah.
That is so deep.
It's true, isn't it?
Because imagine never living up to your potential.
That's right.
Imagine waking up at the age of 80 years old and realizing the person that you could have been, but you never became that person. Literally. Because you never took the steps that you needed to actually get there. Literally. That's scary. I just needed to pause on that, because that is I just feel like everyone needs to think about that for a second.
It's true. And I was mad overweight. So even my body was a physical representation of how shit my life was essentially back then, right? Just being straight and direct. And then when I looked in the mirror and I just visualized who I could be if I actually just put in the work and stop being a victim to all my trauma and things that have happened to me in my life. If I actually just grabbed life by the balls and took accountability, I could actually become a different person. And that's exactly what I did. I went on a journey, solitude. First thing I did was, obviously, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend because I didn't deserve a girlfriend at that point, in my opinion. If you're not in shape, or, you haven't got money, you haven't got any purpose, you're just a bum, you don't deserve a girlfriend. I say that now. This is me being mature, no ego. Didn't deserve a girlfriend, so I broke up with her. I thought, I'm going to get in the trenches now. Cut off all my friends that were smoking weed, drinking alcohol, doing all this bullshit, gossiping, cut them all off. I read every single day. I went to the gym, I ate clean. I just committed to a few small habits every single day. Then, compounding effect of that, after a couple of months, I was just becoming a different man. Literally. Becoming a different man. Got to that job now. Started working that job. You have the honeymoon phase when you work the job.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a suit on. I'm in the office. Life is good. And then I thought to myself, this can't be it. I just thought, this can't be it. Driving to work every single day, doing the same shit over and over again. I thought, this ain't life, bro. And I thought all the pain and shit that I've been through, like, I'd be doing my family a disservice by not stepping up and doing something else. So that's when I started posting content. Content blew up. I had one viral reel that hit 500k views, changed my life completely. I got a lot of sales calls booked, started getting clients in, not charging them much at the time. We'll talk about that later, obviously, when we get into the business stuff. And yeah, from there, I had confidence, kept posting content, stayed at it, built my coaching business, started scaling that slowly, exceeded my income, left my job, and now we're here, moved to Thailand. So you can kind of see like where it started.
Yeah.
Kind of resolve my own problems and traumas, and I help other people do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of my story really in a nutshell. There's a lot to it, but
yeah. And I feel like we definitely need to unpack it, because that sounds like a huge journey, and it sounds like, yep, I just did this, and this. But actually, there's a few things along the way that happened which really paved the person that you are. The first thing that I want to speak about is the breakup, because this seems to be a pivotal point in a lot of people's stories. The breakup is what pushes you to go beyond. Like you said, there's two different ways of a breakup going. It's either the depression, the sadness, you know, kind of self-pity, or I'm going to completely level up my life at this point. What made you go that way?
Because all I'd ever done my whole life before that was just feel sorry for myself.
Okay.
Like when my dad passed, like all I ever did was just feel sorry for myself. And I thought I could do the exact same shit now, or I could actually, like I said, take accountability for the position that I'm in and actually just boss the fuck up. Like, excuse my French, but just boss up and actually make something for myself now. Because for me, I'm a big reader, innit? One book I read was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a by Mark Manson, right? Don't know if we can swear
on this. We can swear on this podcast.
Okay. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Yeah.
That book single-handedly changed my life, because what it taught me was a lot of men are victims. They have a victim mentality. And that's what I was. I used all my trauma, all the shit that happened to me. And I said, you know what? Like, I'm just going to numb it by doing all these quick fixes, you know, these things that are just not serving me in the long run. That never gets you anywhere. Like, as a man, especially, your job is to confront your problems. You need to be able to confront your problems. Life is just a game of problem solving. So I thought I could break up my missus now and be like, yeah, cool, I'm just going to go down the wrong path again. Or I can just reinvent myself. And that's what I wanted to do. Because when you're with somebody, like, you don't actually know who you are, in my opinion. Do you agree with that as well?
I agree with this. I was having the same conversation with my friends yesterday. When you're in a relationship, you are very likely to go with what they want to do, what they like, going to places that they enjoy, and you kind of merge two people together. But if you guys aren't aligned, then it's not going to work, because somebody is going to give up what they actually want and what they actually desire. And especially if you've been with someone for a good few years, you do start to lose yourself and who it is that you actually are.
100%.
The breakup story and the breakup glow up is because you actually take time to sit in solitude.
Yeah.
You start to think about who it is that you want to be. And you start to go on this personal journey towards, well, now I don't have this person. What is it that I actually want?
Makes me happy.
Yes.
Literally. It's so true. It's like you don't even know what makes you happy when you're always trying to cater for somebody else's needs.
100%.
In my opinion.
Do you think that you can build a business and be in a relationship at the same time?
Do you know what? I think it's all the mind frame that you're in. I think if you're someone who is disciplined, like obviously that's a very broad term. Everyone talks about discipline, right? But if you are actually somebody who is disciplined and your partner truly understands what it is you want to do, and they won't bug out when you're, you know what I'm saying, you're spending all day working, you might only be able to see him a couple of times a week. And as long as she understands the lifestyle that you're in, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the emotional maturity of your partner as well.
Definitely.
Because like everyone says they want a guy who's killing it, making big money, got purpose, but then are you actually willing to bear the consequences of that as well? In my opinion, everything in life's a trade-off.
Yeah.
It's a compromise. You can't have a guy who's going to be always readily available for you to take you out to fucking SDK and gauchos all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it all depends on the maturity of the other person.
I also think it depends on, like, from a female perspective, I think it also depends on being aligned. The values need to align. And this isn't just relationship. I think this is also friendships.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to reevaluate all of the relationships in your life. And are they aligning with the person that you're actually becoming? Because one of the problems that we have is that we've had these relationship, friendships, and even family members. We've had them in our lives for so long that they know the past versions of us and they are still aligned with the past versions of us. But when you're leveling up, when you're becoming a brand new person, you need to, and you're reinventing yourself, you then need to reintroduce yourself to these people. And you need to see your best friend of 15 years, unfortunately, might not be able to come on the next step in your journey. And it's really hard because we have this familiarity, we have these connections, these bonds with people. And to actually break away from that is really hard. And Joe Dispenza speaks about this in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. When you're breaking the habit of being yourself, when you're transitioning from the person that you used to be into the person that you actually really want to be, you have to cut away all of these things. And going back to what you said, it's cutting away not only the people, but the habits, the things that you used to do in, the substances, the places you go, the people you're around. It's a whole lifestyle change. But I understand that when you're going on this transformation journey and everything's being ripped away from you and you've got to get rid of everything, it then becomes hard. And I think it's at that point, people just go back to who they were.
100%. You're so right. That's so true. Like, I think that's one of the hardest parts of destroying the habits, because when something's so deeply embedded in you, it's just second nature. It's second nature for you to scroll, for a guy to flip and fap at night and do stupid shit. Like, it's second nature, you know, grabbing a takeaway at night when you're bored or something like that. It just becomes embedded in you. So like breaking it is hard. But I think one thing that really served me well was cutting things out slowly. So like first I cut out the friends. Then I started reading 10 pages instead of scrolling at night, you know? Then I started going to the gym a few times a week. If you just throw yourself in the deep end, there is going to be too much resistance, because we're already resistant to change as human beings. Like, we're wired to be comfortable. We're not even wired to be happy. I read this the other day. We're just wired to be comfortable. Like, just not feel on edge and like we have to make a change. So like, you'll do everything in your power to stay in that comfortable position, but you have to become aware of that as well. You know, and just slowly implementing small changes in your life, I think, is the way to go, rather than trying to do everything at once.
I agree. I think that when people wake up one day and they're like, I want to change, I want to be this new person, when that happens, you're like, I'm going to go out and do all of these things. I heard an amazing quote the other day and I need to share it.
Go on.
Decisions hold weight, but choices are light. When you make a decision, when you decide that you want this new life, that decision holds weight. You've made the decision because at this point you've had enough, you're fed up. But when it comes time to make the choices that align with the decision that you've made, they're light. Let's get into this, your fat loss journey and also fat loss coaching, because I think this is a very key part in people's transformation. When someone looks at themselves in the mirror and they're like, okay, I want to be a brand new person. I want to lose weight. That instantly they're doing these fad diets and I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. And what happens is, over the course of a couple of weeks, slowly that choice when you need to get out of bed and go to the gym, you no longer do that. And slowly you then start to think, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to do it. So did you see that a lot in your own journey and with people that you were coaching at that time as well?
As in like going back on your word, essentially, not sticking to it.
Yeah.
I think if you go back on your word, you don't actually hate your position enough. I had to hate the person that I was and want to kill that person before I made a change. Like, it wasn't actually until I literally looked in the mirror and just felt disgusted that I wanted to change. So if you're constantly going back on your word, you don't want it as bad as you say you do.
That's interesting. Do you think that as humans, we have to literally hit rock bottom in order to change?
Any change I've ever made in my life has come from me hating the position that I'm in. Like, I only left my job when I was sick to death of living the same life on repeat, going to work, getting bossed around, coming back, grafting on my business. Like, I hated that. Like, I hated that so much to the point where I couldn't even be present at work. Same thing with my weight as well. It wasn't until I literally looked in the mirror and I said, like, I'm just sick to death of my own shit, bro. Like, you're just going to die a fat piece of shit if you carry on. I'm just being real, right? That you make a change. Same way in the UK, it wasn't until like I'd outgrown all my friends and I felt lonely that I wanted to leave the UK. So for me, like, you actually have to hate your position to change. If you don't change, you don't hate your life enough. That's the realness of it.
I like that idea. I do feel like when it comes to change as humans, you literally have to get to a point, or majority of us, I'm going to say, get to a point where we hate it. We can no longer stand it. But why can't we just change it at the point where it's like, actually, I just want to change because I feel like it, because I want to?
Because it's comfortable, isn't it? Mark Menzer says this as well in his book. When the pain of making a change outweighs the pain of staying the same, that's when you change.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. It like has to outweigh, like, you being in your position right now, that has to be more painful than you making a change. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I don't know, let's put it into perspective, right? Let's talk from somebody working a job, right? They might say that they hate their job, but they still make compromises for themselves. It's only when something really negative happens at work, like the manager will say something to them that just fires them up, like, nah, I'm not doing this shit again. Like, for me, like, my manager used to just absolutely just grill me. And it took a lot of grillings for me to be like, nah, I'm done now. Do you see what I'm saying? So it has to be quite severe, I feel like, your hatred for your position to change.
I like that. I like that
That's my
idea.
opinion.
What was the journey from working your 9 to 5 to then completely leaving to start your business? Did you quit one into the other, or was you doing kind of like 9 to 5 and then straight into business afterwards?
Great question. So I started my fat loss coaching business towards the back end of 2023. I was working my job at the same time. Didn't really have much clarity. For a few months, I was just kind of winging it. I was posting really good content, getting a lot of traction, but the issue was I didn't really know how to convert these people and charge them enough to be able to leave my job with confidence. So what I did was I invested in mentorship, 7K, pretty much all I had to my name at the time. Paid it off in installments, obviously, but I was very scared. It's the first big investment I ever made in myself. But I knew in life you can either pay with time or you can pay with money. Time isn't infinite. You know what I'm trying to say? Time isn't infinite. We're all going to die one day. It's the truth. And I knew I'd rather pay with the money that I'd worked so hard for, that had an emotional attachment to, rather than just make a shit ton of mistakes and regret it later. I can't lie, I went so hard. Like, I just absorbed everything they told me to do. I just flipping did it. I didn't question anything. Within 2 months, I'd already exceeded my income from my job. I think I did like 3.5K. Then I had so much conviction and confidence in myself. I said, yo, I'm not working this job anymore. I don't care if that sounds like I've got a massive ego. But bro, I've proven to myself I don't need to work this job anymore. I can get it by myself. No one don't have to tell me shit. At that point, I couldn't be present at the job anymore. Because all I was thinking about is going home. Like, I'm sitting on a gold mine here. I've got an amazing story, you know, and if I don't share that to the world, not only am I doing my family a disservice by not being able to help them out and actually build a future for myself, I'm also doing a disservice to young men as well that I can actually genuinely help. So it took me about 2 months to leave the job. Then I moved to Thailand straight.
That's crazy. That is such a quick journey.
Yeah.
Such a quick journey, but success loves speed.
That's facts.
And I think that sometimes we wait for the perfect moment to make stuff happen. So I need to be in this job for 6 more months before I can quit it.
Yeah.
I had the same kind of journey as you. I decided what I wanted to do. I started in January. By April, I quit my job, moved country. So I had the same idea as you. But for a lot of people, they're not going to do that. They're not going to just think, I'm going to do this in 6 months. I want to make it happen. And I think that is a lot to do with limiting beliefs and what you actually believe you can achieve yourself within your own mind. If you're like a sky's the limit kind of person, that's great. But if you're somebody that's been conditioned for years to think that I can only go this far, then that's why you're going to hold yourself back.
That's so real. That is so real. Why do you feel like most people do operate in that state of fear and they don't stick to their word? So let's say somebody's been thinking about leaving their job or moving abroad or something like that. What do you think actually stops most people?
So I read a book called Surrounded by Idiots, and apparently naturally people are born a certain way. So majority of people are just born, and this is like a generational thing. So if generationally you come from a family where they've worked the 9 to 5, they've just worked, they've lived a comfortable life, they've bought the house, they've had the kids, and they live comfortable, that's actually ingrained in you genetically. So that's a lot of the reason. But I think the second reason is it's fear. But what I don't understand is you can always go back to that life. That life's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And this is what I always have to say to people. It's like in my coaching program, it's you can either take the step now or not. But in 12 months' time, you've got two choices. You can be in the same position or a better position. But the only thing that you have to do is take that step forward. And I think it's that first step. And I think adding on now, the third thing is people's opinions. What is everyone going to think of me if I fail?
What do you suggest to people overcoming that then? People's opinions. Actually, let's talk about fear first. Like, what's your suggestions on overcoming fear?
Just do the damn thing. Just do the damn thing. Like, you will have analysis paralysis. You will keep yourself in the same situation by sitting there over analyzing everything that could go wrong. I'm a risk taker. So for me, I just do the thing. Just take action.
Mm.
You just have to do it. Just one step towards whatever it is that you want to do. Do the scary thing. And then what happens is you then train your brain to then think this is actually not scary. And then you can go on to the next scary thing.
In fact, it's reps, isn't it? It's like doing things that scare you on a small scale, and then sooner or later you're doing it on a much larger scale as well. So like for me, the scary thing initially for me was to break up with my girlfriend, cut my friends off. That was shit scary. And now, a few years down the line, I'm taking mad risks like moving abroad and leaving my job. So if I didn't do the reps initially to become a risk taker, someone who doesn't live life in a state of fear, operate from a state of fear, then I wouldn't be able to take the risk that I've taken now as well. So you're right, that's bang on. I think it's taking small risks first, and then you just become so resilient and you don't give a toss about taking risk as well.
100%. You've got
Definitely
to take that first step. And to answer your question about people's opinions, one piece of advice that I'm going to give to everybody is people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are.
Yeah.
Everyone is so worried about what everyone else is thinking about them that they're actually not thinking about you.
It's so real.
Everyone's actually more bothered about their own life more than what they're bothered about your life. And I think when you actually understand that and just see life as a game, like, who cares? I've already lived 9 lives. I've literally already lived 9 lives. I've done 15 different jobs. I've been everything that you could possibly. I've had 15 jobs, literally. I've had 15 jobs. But I've lived 9 lives already. And I'm just like, I'm just going to come up with a whole new life. Every year I have a new life. And I think when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, what are people going to think of me? And then I'm like, but what do I think of them?
Yeah.
Switch it. Rather than what they think of me, what do I think of them? And the same people that are going to judge you are not in the position that you want to be in. As an example, if you want to be a content creator, the biggest content creators out there are not going to judge you for starting your journey.
Facts.
The people that are going to judge you are probably the people that also want to be a content creator but aren't going to take the
Sitting on the
steps you want.
sidelines, not doing niche. They're the ones that are going to judge you. You're
100%.
so right,
You're
man.
not going to judge a man that's at the beginning of his journey that wants to start a business, but his friends will.
Yeah, facts. That's actually so real, you know. When it comes to people's opinions, we just think that we're so much more important than we actually are.
Yes.
Like, we're actually not. No one thinks about you as much as you think that they do. Like, I'll even get deeper on this as well. Like, even when it comes to friends. Like, when I left the UK, I had a good handful of friends. Am I in contact with them anymore? No, I'm not. I thought it was more important than I actually am. But the truth is, everyone forgets you, everyone moves on, everyone's got their own problems. No one's sitting around thinking about you all day. Like, we're actually not as important as we truly believe that we are.
No, I agree.
That's spot on.
You've hit the golden number in your business, or you previously hit the golden number of your business. So anybody that starts in business, they want to get to 10K months. That is the first golden number that you hit. How did you get there? And I don't mean, you know, the coaching and scaling up. I mean, mentally, how did you get to 10K months? Because the sales can come in, but before the sales come in, you've got to believe that people are actually going to buy from you.
So mentally, what did it take me to get to the 10K months? Resilience, first off. I had periods in Koh Samui in Thailand where I wasn't closing deals. I was losing my head, I'll be honest with you, I was. But I learned resilience through then. I learned if something's not working, then insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting new results. So I needed to learn new information to change that. So I'd say resilience is one, like understanding that if I get up every single day, I stand on business, I do what I say I'm going to do, I'm going to fucking get there. Nothing can stop me. Second of all, killing my ego. Like I said, the mentorships, actually destroying your ego. You need to learn from people that are a few steps ahead of you if you want to get ahead. I'd say humility as well, like actually not taking the game too seriously. So much bullshit is going to happen, but what are you going to do about it? You can't cry and get all stressed about it. You just have to understand it's part of the game and just keep moving forward. So I think they're the 3 things. I think resilience, humility, and not having ego and pride.
So what do you do when the clients aren't coming in? So you've started this business, you might have had a good month, but the next month, the clients are not coming in. No matter what you're doing, it just feels like nothing's working.
Well, I think it's a pretty fair game. If you're not getting the desired outcome that you want, you're not doing the right inputs. So like right now, I'm starting a new business model. I know that everything I have to do is around content. If no one knows of my existence, how are they going to want to buy from me, put money in my pocket? Same with the fat loss. It's like I was avoiding doing a lot of the outreach and the dog work just because I had an appointment set, just because I had a team around me. But it's your fault. Like, you have to look at it what are you doing wrong? There's clearly a certain input you're not putting in, why you're not getting the desired output. It comes down to accountability. You have to accept it's your fault if you're not getting the clients that you want.
Talking about accountability, you now are an online business coach for coaches and creators to scale. How do you feel like accountability works when someone's scaling their business?
It's just having someone there to just give you a bollocking when you're being lazy. Like,
yes,
I had a fitness coach even when I lost about 45 kilos by myself, like me personally. And it's just because there are going to be days when you don't feel like doing it, but having someone there in your corner, like actually just calling you out on your bullshit, because sometimes we make such daft excuses for ourselves, right? I think that's what it is. And I also think when I had business mentors, they just helped me think more rationally. I used to make very emotional decisions, and like business, especially coaching, it's just a game of pretty much numbers and logic. Like outreach, for example, it's just numbers, content, how much volume you do in sales calls, all this kind of stuff, right? And I feel like mentors, they just keep you sane and make you feel like, look, this is what you need to do. Go and do it. Stop crying. Go and do it. Stop panicking. Like just calming you down. Because when you're new to business, I feel like you can panic a lot. Like your back's against the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, if I don't get X amount of clients, I ain't gonna make next month's rent. And you know what I'm saying? You're all stressing. So yeah, I think having people there to keep you sane and just show you the way, man.
100%.
Yeah.
I read a quote the other day and it was so interesting. It says, you don't need to be the expert. You just need to be one step ahead from the person that you're coaching.
Don't even get me started on this. You know why that's so true? Listen, I started fat loss coaching when I still had a little belly. And I don't give a shit. I'm a business coach right now and I've just only recently hit my first couple of 10K months. But guess what? I'm still a few steps ahead of other people that are behind me. And the biggest problem that most creators face and coaches is imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You don't feel like you're qualified enough to give value about something that you're more than qualified to do. But like you said, as long as you're a few steps ahead of somebody else, you are still qualified. And the longer you let imposter syndrome defeat you and don't take action, you're literally just starving yourself of living an amazing life. Like I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't defeat my imposter syndrome. Like, bro, I've been in Thailand for 10 months, literally not having to rely on a job for income. Scaling, hitting new milestones just because I'm not scared of people's opinions, bro. Who cares? It's all in your head.
This has been such an interesting conversation and I feel like we can speak for hours. This podcast could literally be about 3 hours long, but I am going to wrap it up now because I feel like there's definitely going to be a part 2, 100%. But I think you've given so much value and so much gems in this podcast. But I want to end with Soulful Success is not just about the money, the clients, it's about purpose. And through this podcast, I really want people to understand that success is one thing. That's the money, that's the followers, that's the fame. But soulful success comes down to understanding what your purpose in life is. So we're going to end with a really deep question. What is your purpose right now?
My purpose has changed, definitely. I thought my purpose before was the fat loss coaching. I remember writing down on a piece of paper, like, the reason for my existence is to help men financially, mentally, physically, and in their relationships. I want to all round help men in every single way that I can. And as I achieve new milestones in my life, I will do that. I've achieved the fitness goals now. I'm getting my mind right all the time. I'm starting to get financially a lot better off, you know? I'll sort our relationship one day. But I generally just feel like it's just helping younger me, man. I never had no one to guide me in my life. Like I said, my dad died when I was mad young. And I wish I had someone there to just guide me and show me the way. So I feel like for me, it's just helping men holistically. And the reason why I do it right now through the business coaching side of things is because I know what not having money is like. Like younger me, when I was trying to make it out of my job, I know what it's like to feel on edge. Like you're just working paycheck to paycheck and you haven't got money. And the reality is I'm far from gone clear, but I'm a lot better off than I used to be. And having money gives you peace of mind. And I think that's just invaluable. So that's what I really think my purpose is, just to help younger me. Just because I do it through money now doesn't mean that it's like, oh, I'm just money hungry. Like I genuinely want to help people to live a fulfilling life as well. So yeah, man.
That's beautiful. What a way to end. That was gorgeous. I loved that.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank
Deep
you
question.
so much for coming on.
It's like therapy, this, isn't it?
That's the whole point, right? We go a little bit deeper than the average business podcast, definitely. Thank you. We appreciate it. I feel like there's going to be a part 2 and I feel like this is going to blow up.
100%. This ain't the last you're going to see of my handsome brown face, people, man.
All right.
All right, man. Cool.